Touching on the job Triple H has done since becoming the chief content officer of WWE, The Undertaker told BT Sport, "He's done great. He was always such a creative force, even when he was such a talent. He always had great ideas. It was a perfect position, I think, for him. I think he's done a really, really good job and under really difficult situations too." Speaking to Odyssey's The Beat 98.5, The Undertaker was asked about his life after retirement from pro wrestling, to which he said, "It's been difficult. That character was such an important part of my life and career. Just being not able to perform again, that's my passion. In my mind and heart, there's nothing I'd rather do than be in the ring and performing. That's who I am and what I have done for 30 plus years. I had a great run. My time is done, and it is time to do something different." With Inside the Ropes, Taker recalled his WrestleMania feud with CM Punk, where he said this about the star. "He was great to work with. I'm very proud of that match. We sat down and we thought about ideas and everything. It was great. I had no beef with Punk. He was always business with me. Hopefully, I was with him too. He was good with me, and that's all that matters. Business is business, whatever's best for business. Everybody thinks they're an expert, but they really have no clue. It's ridiculous online. Business has always been business, and Punk was always business with me." Speaking about the Boneyard match in WWE, Kurt Angle revealed this on his podcast about possibly being involved in a cinematic bout. What I loved about it is it was pre-recorded. I think that those guys, the sky was the limit with what they could do because every spot could have been filmed at different times. I think that was brilliant because at the time, Undertaker was coming back and he's getting older. I think they did the right thing. I could do that. I'd be game for that. Don't get me wrong, I'm not going to do it every year, but if I'm going to do a match, I would want to pre-record it and I would want each spot to come whenever I was ready to do it. There's nothing wrong with doing matches like that, especially if you're going to put them on TV. I mean, having a match where you just do it all in the ring and you do it live in front of people, that's one thing that's really impressive. That's the most impressive match you can have. But having a match where you have spot after spot taped at different times, you put it all together, it's still a wrestling match. Now, don't get me wrong, you're cheating a little bit, but it's still going to come across incredibly well. That Undertaker AJ match was awesome. While Pat McAfee has teased a return to the WWE ring, this was said about his future prospects as a full-time commentator, as it was noted on Wrestling Observer Radio. The deal is that ESPN is trying to get him, land him for a regular gig there. As far as wrestling goes, I guess, I don't think he's going to be back as a weekly character. Wade Barrett said last week that he is under the impression that he is permanently in that spot. And when Pat started the football, he was going to be back after football season, and obviously football is over, and Pat's got a lot of things going on in his life. He's got a kid. He's making so much money from his show. It makes no economic sense for him to do wrestling because no money can measure it with what he was making elsewhere. He loved doing it, which is why he did it for a long time. For a WWE biography episode, former Divas champion Saraya touched on being bullied during her time in the company. "I came in with previous wrestling experience, and some of the girls were intimidated by that. The only person that was nice to me was Summer Rae. I remember they used to throw my out of the locker room. They told me I had to do my stuff in the shower, and they were just awful. I remember calling my mom and dad for like 3 or 4 months, and I was crying my eyes out. These phone calls were really frequent at the start until she settled in. Many times she wanted to come home. All I'm saying is give it time. It's your big moment. They're going to test you." During a KNS virtual signing, Nia Jax was asked if she would consider joining AEW, with her replying, "I actually would. I keep getting asked that question and I usually say no, but I actually would. I'm really good friends with Saraya. I love what she's doing there. I recently met Nyla Rose. It would be kind of cool and add something different." On Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer spoke about Vince McMahon's current involvement with WWE, saying, "I can tell you that there are things when it comes to stuff that nobody's supposed to know, but Vince knows. He is an insider when it comes to all of this. He is there, yes. Triple H is running creative, but Vince is there a lot more than just working on the sale. There is definitely a lot more to it than that." With Roman Reigns having been champion for years, it looks like he could be done with WWE for a bit. As Louis Dangoor wrote, Roman Reigns is expected to take a significant break following WrestleMania. WrestleVotes tells Give Me Sport. The belief is that the undisputed WWE Universal Champion could even be missing until SummerSlam in August. WrestleVotes noted, adding to this, "I'm told this is contingent on if and when Reigns eventually loses the title. As of now, those plans are not certain." Recalling how he got his full name back in WWE, Austin Theory told Chris Van Vliet, "Yeah, so I remember walking into, and this is the time Mr. McMahon was head of creative. I remember the writer bringing my promo, and the promo said, 'Don't call me Austin, it's just Theory.' I was like, what? The name is gone? I was wondering why. I spoke with Mr. McMahon about it, and he felt that, Theory could be a name that stood alone. He felt it had enough power behind it. Also, I think he just wanted to get away from the comparison of Stone Cold because we just did the WrestleMania stuff. So I think maybe out of circumstance, that's maybe why it happened." The funny story about Austin Theory coming back is, I just got a text one day, that just pretty much said, "You're Austin Theory." Then I showed up to the show, and the matches were on the wall, and there was my full name again. I'm like, I guess I'm Austin Theory again. So I thought it was kind of funny. That's how I find out, you know what I mean? I never felt negative about it because Theory just meant the most to me because I'll always have my first name. People are always going to know me as Austin, but Theory was just that name I came up with as a kid. Even as a kid, I was searching for, besides it being a cool name that I came up with, and nobody had it, how can I give a meaning? For the longest, Theory was supposed to mean, a theory is unproven. But to me, when you're unproven, that means you're not proven, so you can always get better. If you're somebody that's proven, that's it for you. So me being a theory, always being able to change, to adapt, to evolve, that's what it's all about. And I still feel like to this day, it still works for that. Despite rumors of a potential heel turn and match at SummerSlam against Becky Lynch, Trish Stratus said this about her future in WWE following WrestleMania, telling Shaq Wrestling, for now, let's get to WrestleMania and see what's gonna happen. It's a big, departure. I'm judging for Canada's Got Talent, as you know, my business and my babies. It's only been a couple of weeks on the road. I'm like, woo, yeah, okay. It's quite the balance. I got childcare in place, so there's all these things to consider. I have to go train at nighttime. When I put my kids to bed, I go train from 9 till midnight, so it's all these things to consider. It's definitely not a full-time job. I can't do this as a full-time job right now because there's other jobs as well, but let's get to WrestleMania and see what happens. With a report of a WWE star being pulled from a house show, Sean Ross Sapp noted that Carmella was off this weekend's house shows as well. The plan had been to continue with she and Chelsea Green, but the decision was made over the weekend to replace her with Piper Niven. Nobody we spoke to had an update. With Forbidden Door coming up for AEW in New Japan, AEW President Tony Khan said this about Mercedes Monet wanting to be on the card, telling Bet Las Vegas, "It's a very encouraging thing to hear. I have so much respect for Mercedes. I think she's such a great pro wrestler and certainly one of the best in the world. Any wrestling company in the world, including AEW, is fortunate to have Mercedes. Currently, she is the world champion for our partner NJPW, and I think she's a great champion for them. I'm glad she brought up Forbidden Door as it's going to be an exciting event. Certainly, the shadow of Mercedes is looming large in New Japan Pro Wrestling right now. When AEW and NJPW clash at Forbidden Door, it will be very interesting to see what happens. She's certainly one of their top stars, and it makes for a very interesting situation going into Forbidden Door." While there's been pitches made to Steve Austin to have a match at WrestleMania 39, Stone Cold said this about returning to the ring on Out of Character. Well, never say never. If the stars align again, hell, it could happen again, right? Talking about Goldberg's status as a free agent following his WWE contract expiring, AEW President Tony Khan told the Bet Las Vegas and the Sporting Tribune, "I have a lot of respect for Bill. I think Bill Goldberg is a great professional athlete and has had a great career in pro wrestling and is a very nice person. He actually has a lot of ties around the Jacksonville community. His family is from Jacksonville and they've done so much great work in the community. There is a great hospital, the Wolfson Children's Hospital, and Bill is related to the Wolfson family. They have done so much great work in this community, and that's partially how I've gotten to know Bill. He's a household name in pro wrestling, and certainly that's interesting to hear that he is a free agent. It's something to follow, and he's one of the biggest names in wrestling, and certainly will be something else to keep an eye on for us. We have so many great wrestlers in AEW, and so many exciting things happening in AEW week to week, that it's always an exciting time. Bill is an exceptionally exciting name, and one of the biggest names in the sport. Certainly, it's a big thing for us to pay attention to. I would take notice of that, and it is interesting. On his Hall of Fame podcast, Booker T spoke about the evolution of LA Knight on the main roster as he said, "For someone like LA Knight, this guy could have bailed out a long time ago. He could have quit. He could have said, man, let me go jump on this AEW bandwagon and see if these guys will pay me some money. Man, because I can't deal with this. I can't deal with just having these mediocre roles. But one thing about this business is you're going to have a mediocre role somewhere along the way no matter what you're at. But it's about weathering that storm and fixing yourself in position to where, there again, the fans are going to dictate, just like I was talking about with Braun Breaker. The fans will dictate where your pecking order is going to be in this business, and I say that from experience. Being Max Dupree was putting him in a position where he literally could fail, but he said, let me take this role and try to make it something. A lot of people say, man, I wouldn't do that. Yeah, you would have. You would have did it. You would have did it because there's a check at the end of the day, but more important than that, this is a guy that's not going to bail on these situations because he gets put in a situation. They're going to be put in that situation and try to make the best of that situation. I respect that, man. I respect that to the utmost from this dude. As Goldberg is no longer under contract with WWE, Sean Ross Sapp said this, in regards to Goldberg's free agency status, it isn't necessarily new. We're told he became a free agent on January 1st, and that Tony Khan has had to interact with his reps for other deals as well. Goldberg's last match was February 2022, but there was still time on his deal. Goldberg has several companies already interested in booking him, including one in Israel. As Bray Wyatt has been out of action and off WWE programming due to a reported physical issue, it seems he could be replaced in his upcoming match, with Louis Dangor saying Bobby Lashley will still be a WrestleMania card, even if Bray Wyatt can't make the show. WrestleVotes tells Give Me Sport, Triple H has LA Knight as backup for a segment and match with the ex-WWE champion, which could involve Stone Cold Steve Austin too. WrestleVotes added, WWE will find a way to get Lashley on the card. A match versus LA Knight isn't planned as of now, but has been discussed for over a week now. Bobby Lashley also talked about his upcoming match, where he hinted at a possible replacement for Wyatt, writing, 9 days until the Almighty takes over SoFi Stadium, someone is getting the ass kicking of a lifetime. I'm fresh and ready for a fight. Addressing a recent post from CM Punk, Dave Meltzer noted on Wrestling Observer Radio, what it says is that he wants back in, which we've already known. Other people have said that too, that he's looking to get back in. It's up to Tony Khan, and Tony's going to make a decision at some point. He's probably just about ready, if not ready already, from the torn triceps, so it is one of those things that he can do soon enough. Speaking of CM Punk, he was censored on AEW Dynamite as his face on the company truck was covered up during the broadcast. Giving a status update on AEW star Miro, the Wrestling Observer newsletter wrote that Miro and wife CJ Perry, Lana, have been in Bulgaria for a month. Tony Khan had pitched an idea for him in September for Full Gear. One thing he turned down was losing a battle royal where he and Adam Page would have been the last two. Khan had said that after the pay-per-view, they'd try and get back, and obviously his name hasn't been mentioned since. He has about 3 years left on his contract. Miro is keeping himself busy as he took to Twitter to write, "I'm very honored to be a voice actor in a very special HBO Max animated short called Yellowbird. It's a project very near to my heart, available to stream today in the Only You collection." Touching on what could be next for Brock Lesnar as he is set to face Omos at WrestleMania, the Wrestling Observer newsletter wrote that regarding rumors of Lesnar, there were reports Lesnar had told people he'd be leaving soon, and within the company, the word has circulated. The only thing we know is that everything about Lesnar and what he's doing is kept top secret, and that Vince McMahon, Nick Khan, Paul Levesque know, and maybe 2 others know, and nobody else does. The last time Lesnar left for an extended period was when he put over McIntyre as big and as clean as he possibly could. So if there is a finish similar to that. Following her walkout from WWE last summer, Naomi has not been seen in the company since. On Instagram, she responded to a fan that asked, "Are you still in WWE?" To which she replied, "No, friend." Naomi also applied a trademark to use the ring name Trinity Star. In some unfortunate news, former pro wrestling star Black Bart took to Facebook to give an update on his health as he wrote, "Well, I'm not quite sure where to start except to just spit it out the way I usually do. I don't want rumors, so here's the truth. I was diagnosed today with stage 4 colon cancer that has also spread to my liver. I'm not the kind to just roll over and play dead, so you all should know that I will fight it with all I have in me. Since I am a child of God and he is in my heart always, I believe I have a head start. I will see the oncologist next week and start chemotherapy ASAP. The main thing I ask from my Facebook people is for prayer, because I believe we can all use extra prayers. I will post updates when I have them." When it comes to the possibility of Mercedes Monet returning to WWE, the Wrestling Observer newsletter noted, "The ball is in her court when it comes to New Japan, WWE, and AEW, as I'm sure she could go to any of the 3 and make a lot of money in both US companies. She probably could work out an AEW deal where she would be able to work Japan and Mexico if she wanted as well. From the WWE side, we were told there were points that she has asked for that she would have to give up asking for to sign a deal with them, but the door is open for her otherwise. For other talent, the short-term deal works very much in her favor as she kept the buzz on her name, got to fulfill her goals of working in Japan in April, and is basically on the open market." Speaking to WrestleJoy, Cody Rhodes touched on Roman Reigns mentioning that he ran away from WWE and AEW, saying, "I love that Roman brought it up in terms of running. I have to own it. I did meet adversity and I did not say, you know what, I'm going to put my feet in the sand and stay. I didn't put my flag here. I'm not going to get back to the campus. I'm going to find a different campus. I hate the expression trust the process with all my life. Why not create the process? Why do I have to trust the process? I'd rather create the process. Roman isn't wrong that the business stung me, and I had to move away from where I got stung. I couldn't just continue to get stung." With all that said, it's ironic coming from Roman, who is a lifelong investment by WWE. That investment is absolutely paying off, but it just started paying off. I've talked about him with the greatest of reverence and respect because I know how absolutely dang special he is in our world. But if you're gonna get lowbrow with his comments like that, just remember that if me meeting adversity and changing my ways, going out and betting on myself, is that less valuable than meeting adversity and just pretending it doesn't exist? Either way, it really shouldn't matter because you're absolutely as champion, proving to everyone that you are everything you say you are as champion. I feel I'm everything I say I am as the American Nightmare. So it is up to the fans to decide the verdict on these trials, on my story, and the journey. I've had things I've done that weren't good, but I do all of them as well as the things I've done that were absolutely special and helped create magic. Talking about making a possible WWE comeback, Matt Cardona told Wrestling Inc. So, when I got released from WWE, ever since that day, my goal has not been, oh, what can I do to go back? What do I need to do to impress people to get back there? No, that's not my goal. But I'd be lying if I said I never wanted to wrestle at Madison Square Garden again, or I never wanted to have a WrestleMania moment again. Of course, I do. So, will Matt Cardona ever go home? I think eventually, but not as Zack Ryder, because Zack Ryder is dead. With WWE Tough Enough winner Sarah Lee passing away at the age of 30 in October, People.com said this in regards to the situation. The insider says Lee was heavily drinking the night she died and was later found dead by her husband, Corey James Weston, who goes by the ring name Weston Blake. Weston, had just come back from working in Orlando. He took the kids somewhere and came back and found her. It was sudden, the source adds. It wasn't intentional and it was accidental. Lee was never that person you would think would do this. According to the insider, there were never any signs. Giving an update on his health following surgery on his back, Kurt Angle revealed on his podcast, I think it actually worked. I don't know yet, but I don't have the pain going down my legs, so the operation definitely worked. I'm hoping that the pain in my back will subside, and hopefully it will in the next few days, and then I'll feel really good about it. The doctor did a great job. He really did. I was having problems with my legs and the nerves going down my legs, and that's all gone, so I'm good with that. With CM Punk deleting an Instagram post where he talked about plans to return from injury and face Jon Moxley, who refused to lose to him, Brian Last posted AEW's Talent Playbook, where it says this about public comments. 19. Interviews and public comments. It is critically important that private, sensitive, and confidential information regarding any and all AEW matters be kept confidential. To that point, it is essential that we address and resolve matters privately in-house rather than through the media or on social media. Neither of those platforms offer opportunities for meaningful dialogue or resolutions. In keeping with the highest standards of professionalism and respect for AEW, our staff and talent roster, the following acts will be subject to immediate discipline by AEW, including fines, suspensions, or termination of your engagement. 1. Criticism of AEW, which includes, but is not limited to, the following: comments regarding the quality of AEW's management team, other members of the roster or ownership, including our TV partners, or decisions made by ownership or management. Publicly accusing ownership, management, or any member of the talent roster of acting with bias or in any way questioning the integrity, posting negative or derogatory/demeaning content pertaining to AEW, its owners, its partners, or its sponsors, currently DraftKings, Price.com, and State Farm on social media. 2. Disclosure of confidential information. All conversations that are held back of house at AEW shows or scheduled events, in person or virtually, including talent meetings, are confidential and are not to be discussed publicly. 3. Directing abusive, profane, or threatening language towards AEW. Talent and employees must maintain proper respect for AEW at all times. Offenses against AEW include verbal or other non-physical abuse. This applies at all AEW event locations, including at the arena or event venue, airports, and other transportation modes to and from an AEW event, and at hotels or other accommodations provided in connection with AEW. 4. Public criticism of fellow team members. AEW policy prohibits public criticism of fellow team members. Such prohibited public statements may include, but are not limited to, accusations or criticism of fellow team members or the organization as a whole, accusations or criticism of tactics/style of wrestling of fellow team members, accusations or suggestions that certain issues consistently occur in a particular match. Innuendos and indirect statements will also be considered prohibited. While understanding that social media can be used to help advance storylines, first please check with those with whom you are working before posting. Feel free to run potential posts by Christopher Daniels, a coach or a member of legal/HR or PR team before posting. 5. Unauthorized media engagement. Interviews. Do not conduct any interviews, podcasts, or engage with the media without alerting and engaging the PR team. You will be breaking policy if you move forward with an unapproved interview. Anonymous sources. Instances of anonymous AEW talent being cited by media as sources of information will not be tolerated and is subject to discipline upon a first offense. These policies and accountability measures will protect you, your colleagues, and AEW. If you have any questions or concerns, please reach out to talent development or legal/HR to discuss. Staying on the topic of CM Punk, Sean Ross Sapp reported that as far as CM Punk's injury status, he tore his triceps at AEW All Out before the scrum. Those with knowledge of the situation said that he was hopeful he could be fully healthy by late January, but believed that now he'd be able to be cleared, and if not now, very soon. Reacting to CM Punk's now deleted Instagram story, Booker T said this on his Hall of Fame podcast. One thing about insider information and stuff like that, brother, it just goes to show me what this business is. Where you're talking about the business and giving all of the insider information to the fans that watch, they're the ones that are writing your check. That's the dumbest thing I could ever imagine in my life. Certain terms being used in that little soliloquy, it just amazes me how childish these guys really are. With the WWE investigation into Vince McMahon's alleged misconduct reaching over $20 million in cost, the chairman of the company has paid some of the expenses, as it was said in an SEC filing. On March 20th, 2023, WWE entered into a reimbursement agreement, the agreement with Vincent Kennedy McMahon, the company's executive chairman, director, and controlling stockholder. The agreement provides that Mr. McMahon will pay the company approximately $17.4 million to reimburse the company for the costs that have been incurred and paid by the company and or its subsidiaries through January 31st, 2023 in connection with and or arising from the investigation conducted by a special committee of the company's board of directors, related revisions to the company's financial statements, and other related matters. Such payment was made on March 23rd, 2023. The agreement further provides that Mr. McMahon will also review in good faith and reimburse the company for additional costs incurred by the company and or its subsidiaries subsequent to January 31st, 2023, or that have been incurred by the company and or its subsidiaries and not yet paid as of January 31st, 2023 in connection with and or arising from the same matters. The agreement also includes a release of Mr. McMahon by the company regarding the recovery of the costs described above and a release of the company by Mr. McMahon regarding the investigation and related matters described above. Sticking with Bray Wyatt, Ringside News said this about his WrestleMania prospects. Regarding Bray Wyatt's WrestleMania status, we were told that no one here knows. Top-level information, and it's not flowing down. At this point, it's anyone's guess what WWE will do. On Instagram, Ronda Rousey took a shot at WWE Creative over a feud with Liv Morgan as she said, "Imagine what our Liv Morgan feud could have been if we weren't hamstrung by a bunch of octogenarians who still think they know how to be hip while putting a total of 5 minutes of thought a week into each women's storyline." And this was your Pro Wrestling News Update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all later.